All right, Shalom. For the front to give our praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash, Divine Sea Apostle and Elders, the Great Millstone, tell all can across the world, pushing the word of truth and city. I want to say Shalom. Listen to this bullshit.
That answer is yes.
True. Do you consider having sexual relations with your husband a chore?
My answer is yes.
True. Since you have been married, have you ever given your phone number to a man you were romantically interested in?
The answer is yes.
True. Do you have any secrets that could destroy your marriage?
Yes.
True. Have you ever had a sexual fantasy involving one of your husband's friends?
The answer is yes.
About as far as I'm going to go, you can find this video. You can see a little thumbnail tag right here. And it's disgusting, man. I watched it in its entirety, and she did this all for $200,000. And at the end, she's like, well, that's a lot of money for me and my kids. She's cool with it. But look at the smirk on his whole face, man. You know, and you seen the dejection, you know, the change in the countenance of her husband, man. Totally embarrassed. It was embarrassing. And she has no shame in nothing that he did. Look at her face, man. You know, and this is the face of the proud nigger woman, man. When we say the nigger woman, this is exactly what we're talking about, man. This is the exact example of what we tell brothers to avoid, all right? It's not worth it. You know, speaking from experience, all right? It's not worth it, you know? And I feel bad for that man, but money exposed her. That money exposed a lot of you goddamn whores, man. You know, and you know, we need the kingdom, man. You know, and you know, that's just the point. We need the kingdom. Excuse me. It's Proverbs 30 and 20. It says, such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipeth her mouth and saith, I've done no wickedness, man. You know, and you know, and she got a smirk on her face thinking she did nothing wrong. Got her husband out there embarrassed, you know, businesses out there. And, you know, when you go on, you know, she actually fucked one of his friends in her bedroom, you know. And that's just disgusting, man. This is who our baby mamas are. This is who we have joint bank accounts with. This is who we have children with. This is who has the codes and passcodes to your accounts, keys to your house, you know. This Sirach 25 and 13, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, man. You know, and that's sad, man. You know, we rather have anything, you know, brother, we'd rather have cancer, man, than have a wicked woman in this corner, man. You know, and it's sad, man, you know, that these women get out here proud and haughty, thinking they're doing nothing wrong, thinking that it's cool to go on television, man, you know, and admit these things publicly, all right, and shame her husband, shame herself, but she has no shame. You know, she has no shame. It says, I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman, man. You know, she gets $200,000, man, for exposing their business. What does he get? But the shame and the guilt, you know, the children, all right? What are they going to think of their mother, man? Probably nothing, because she probably brainwashed them. I did it for you. You know, look at what we got. The wickedness of a woman changes her face, and darkness her countenance like sackcloth. As you go on, you can see the her physical appearance does change throughout that questioning, man. Smirking and a fake shame, that little snarky smile, you know. We get to the point, her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, he shall sigh bitterly, man. And that man, is dejected, man. You know, now it's like, when he goes about, his everyday life, man, whenever her name gets brought up, man, he's gonna have fucking thoughts of that damn talk show, man. You know, it says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman, that the portion of a sinner fall upon her, man. And that's money did you a favor, big dog. Now she's somebody else's problem. Just a high valued whore. It said the scripture talk about he who committeth adultery to get that. Come on now. I forgot how the last part go, but come on, man. Wow. Damn, that's Satan, man. That's Satan. It's just about he who commits adultery, lack of understanding, man. And this woman definitely lacks understanding. She's a whore. She's gonna talk about how my wife shall be a whore in the city. And anybody who lays with this woman, man, the Lord's gonna judge you for committing adultery. Look at her, man. Like she done no wrong, man. But at the end, fucking, she said she did it all for her kids. That's a lot of money, man. Knowing that half of that shit's finna get taxed. She have to pay the other half for a lawyer for a divorce. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is the outcome of dealing with a haughty, prideful, and adulterous woman, man. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.